In homework 1 we have the sum of 5 consecutive numbers. So consecutive means next to each other. So if we have consecutive numbers, we're talking about if we start with, we don't know what any of them are, but let's say the first one's n. And if we're looking for the sum, well, that means we have to add. So n plus, and let's add n plus 1. And the next one would be n plus 2. That's the first 3. We want 5. So plus n plus 4. And that's 5 consecutive integers. And we're told that the sum is equal to 235. So we're going to find the smallest number, well, the smallest number, which we're looking for n. And so now we've just got an equation to solve. So if we look at our like terms, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lots of n. And we have 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 3 is 6, plus 4 is 10. That's all equal to 235. So we're going to need to subtract 10, and we're running out of space here, but let's do our best. 5n will be equal to 225. And if we divide now by 5, then we can see, well, 200 divides, it's 40, and 25 divides 5 times. So n is going to be 45. That's the smallest number. So, next question 2, if we've got A, B, C are consecutive, even natural numbers, so consecutive even, then that means that for even numbers we can rewrite these as 2n. And if they're consecutive, well, the next number would be odd and the one after it would be even, so we have to add 2. So 2n plus 2. And the next one after that, we'd have to add 2 again. So we have expressions here for A, B, and C. They're all even. And we want to find the value of this complicated looking thing over here. So now it's just a matter of substitution. We'll just put in each of these values as we go. A is 2n, and subtract C. Now C has got a couple of different terms, so we're going to use safety brackets because the negative is going to distribute. So 2n plus 4 for C. And finish that bracket, and we're going to multiply that. Now we're on to the next section, B minus A. Now B, this is just substitution. 2, you can fast forward the video, 2n plus 2, and minus A, which is 2n. And the last bracket now is C, so that was 2n plus 4 was our expression for C. And I'll notice here also I didn't say the inequality, so A had to be less than C. That's why we were doing it in this order as well. Minus A gives us this complicated looking expression. But if we look within each bracket, we can see that there's some cancellation to be done. So 2n minus 2n, well, that's 0. Again, 2n minus 2n, and in the third bracket the same thing. That should be an n there. 2n. So if we now look at the simplified version of each bracket, we've got minus 4 in the first bracket, multiplied by 2 in the second bracket, multiplied by 4, and that comes out rather nicely as minus 32. Okay, so in the third question, we've got we're given that these are 2 consecutive natural numbers, so that means that these are one number apart. So there's a couple of different ways we can go about this. We can look at the first number here could be one higher or lower than this number, so it could be, or one lower would be 3n, or we could say that 2n plus 1 is one higher. So that would be, one lower would be 3n minus 2. So if we simplify our expressions here, we'd have n equal to 1, or we could have n, if we subtract 2n here, n and then add 2 to both sides equal to 3. So that our answers could be, n could be 1 or 3. But there's no reason why we couldn't have done it the other way around. We could have started with 3n minus 1, and said, okay, well that can be 1 less than 2n plus 1, which would be 2n, and we should be able to see that that does give n equal 1. Or we could say 3n minus 1 could be equal to 1 higher than that, so 2n plus 2, and again we should see that we get the same result. So a couple of different approaches there. couple of different approaches we could use for 4 as well. We're wanting to insert some numbers on the number line, so let's just draw a little sketch here. Here's our number line. Let's put in a few little numbers here, 0, 1 and 2. So 3/4, that's about here. So 3/4. If we want to put in some numbers in between those, so it wants to be bigger than 3/4. So a very easy way we can make fractions larger is to increase the numerator and the denominator by 1. So a fraction bigger than 3/4 would be 4/5. Bigger than that, you guessed it, maybe let's say 5/6. So just increasing the numerator and denominator by 1 will increase the number, but that number, both those numbers are still less than 1. Another way we could think about this is look at the decimal representation. This is 0.75, and 1's obviously 1, so we could think about some decimals that are less than this. So, I don't know, 0.9 is a decimal less than 1, and so we could say another rational number we could say is 9/10. So that's another one we could have put in, nice and easy. We already have 0.8. And I'm sure you could think of other numbers to put in. 95%, I guess, so you could say somewhere here, 95/100, or simplify that if you like. And there are actually infinite rational numbers that we can insert on the number line between there, so a number of different strategies you can use.